Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. My name is Denise Hutchins and I'm broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Our charity of the month is a rat retreat. This is actually our last week of streaming, so it's the last chance to help build up the unique viewers count for the month, which is how I calculate my donation to the charity. So please bring your friends to these last couple hours of streams, or donate directly through the Twitch fundraiser button. It is Thursday, which means we're going to be working on some illustration. I've got my nice Summer Gryphon piece here ready to go. But I am only going to be streaming for an hour today instead of 3 hours. It's going to be the same thing tomorrow too, just an hour instead of 3 hours, because we had a medical emergency in the house and I have a lot more responsibilities to take care of every day until things are back to normal. So, let me actually finish setting up my workspace. I didn't quite finish, and it was after the start of streaming time, so I was like, let's just start. So I need to put my keyboard over here, and then I can put this is my paint palette. Yay! Put my paint palette. Oh, my usual stack of drawers is elsewhere. Oh, I'll put this over to my right. There. Okay, that's there. And now I'm going to put this to my left. Okay. I had this hanging up, but I'm still swiping. I had it hanging up like this way. I'm swiping it just in case some little pet hairs clung to it in the interim since I worked on it last week. Okay, let's see. I think my camera is a little farther to the right than it normally is. Or to the left. It's a little farther to the left than it normally is. So I am going to scoot it over. I'm trying to straighten it back up. So is that straight? I'm using the bottom edge of my painting to see. So it looks pretty straight. There. Now I'm not squished too far over. I'm still squished a little bit farther over than usual. But seems centered actually, so that's going to have to be fine. Okay, let's position the little camera for a different, interesting view of painting. There we go. Doesn't quite get the whole thing in there, but that's pretty good. Different angle. Okay. I actually don't even remember where I left off last week. I think it was adding these little stripes. Yeah, adding extra stripes of orange to the sunflower. So I was working on the sunflowers. And I think I actually got through everything adding the first layer of shading. So probably just going to add a second layer of shading. So let me open I can't see it. My monitor. So let me illustrate. My main monitor is here, but it's over on my PC workstation. I'm sitting over here. And I have a secondary monitor on an arm, and it is like blocking, because I can turn it this way for the PC station, or I can turn it this way for when I'm streaming. And so it's like this, which means it's blocking this on, and I can't see. So I'm like trying to, at least the mouse is wireless, so I can move all the way back, just so I can, yeah, there we go. Double click on the sunflower reference image, and now I have it up. Hooray! Now I have to reposition it. There we go. Excellent. And oh, Exie, hello! Thank you for joining me. Hooray! I'm so glad I got to see you in the chat this week. I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it. So glad you could make it. How are you doing? Did you have a nice week since last week? Hanging in there? Are you still having relatively normal temperatures where you are? Because here it is just like living inside of an oven. It's crazy here. Oh, excellent. I'm always glad to hear you doing all right. Let's see, I'm still positioning. I'm organizing my workspace on the monitor over here. Just trying to get the reference image to take up as much space as possible without blocking what I need to see from OBS. Oh, thank you for asking. I'm doing all right, all things considered. It's kind of weird, like, the most difficult thing about the unexpected stuff that happened this week is that it's really hard to feed myself enough food throughout the day when I'm doing 2 people's worth of chores and plus extra stuff, being a caregiver or whatever, and I'm like, I'm so hungry, but there's no time to eat. So other than feeling a little hungry, and I'm gonna eat after this. I ate right before this, but I hadn't eaten anything until that point. Other than that, I'm doing good. I was actually very surprised when I went on my run today that I was able to go at my normal pace because it is so hot outside and the air quality remains poor in this area. It's just so smoky all the time. Oh, how was that? I am excited to see that. Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't know if I've seen anything other than the first Deadpool movie. I don't remember. I think there was like a short or something with Deadpool 2 that came after the... Anyway, I like the first Deadpool movie. Like, was there Deadpool 2? No, maybe I've seen Deadpool 2. But there was one. I can't remember. But I like the first one for sure. And then I am hoping that this... Of course, as usual, no spoilers, but I am hoping that this new one will be redemption for Wolverine because the movie Logan was so depressing that I was upset in a mad kind of way. Like, this is not what I want out of a Wolverine movie. Even though I know it's based on a comic, but I was like, I would not have watched this. This was so sad and depressing. Oh, you really enjoyed it. Oh, good. Oh, I'm looking forward to it so much. So much. And Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I have loved him ever since that first... what was it, 2000 or 2001? Or was it 2004? I can't remember. I bet it was 2002. Or maybe it's 3. It's one of those years. When that first one came out and he played Wolverine, I'm like, yep, this is Wolverine. This is Wolverine forever. And he's just like the living embodiment of Wolverine. Anyway. I'm so excited now. Yay. Oh, and it's so nice. I am so jealous of you that it rained when you walked home. Oh, that sounds totally dreamy, and you know rain is my favorite. It is my absolute favorite. I love it so much. Okay, I'm finally looking at this reference image. Alright, I think what I want to work on is the middle part a little bit because they're all looking really flat. So let's add a little more brown. And I have this brown already mixed from last time. I'm just going to see what happens if I use this. Can't remember what I used it on. Maybe it was this brown for this. I feel like that was one of the last things I did. So I'm going to wake that back up. Oh, I'm so excited to see that movie now. I already had high hopes just seeing because I love the Deadpool movie. So funny. And I'm not usually a huge violence person in my entertainment, but when it's done right, it's hilarious. Like, I really enjoyed that movie. There's still a little bit of dry paint on underneath, but I think this is good enough. This is plenty of paint ready to go. I'm going to turn it around, though, so it's easier for me to reach. Whee! I wonder when it's going to be streaming, because I think all the X-Men movies are... So I'm like... I don't know if I'm sounding random right now, when I say I wonder when it's going to be streaming, I mean the Wolverine and Deadpool movie. If it'll be streaming soon, because I hate going to the movie theater. I don't go to the movie theater anymore because people are always so rude. It's a huge waste of money. So, I'm hoping that the movie will be streaming so I can watch it soon. Especially because next week is my recharge week, and it really is a recharge week, not a vacation week, because Thursday evening is one event, and then all work day Friday, work day Saturday, and most of the work day, we'll say working hours. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's like daytime hours. I will be attending the SCBWI Summer Conference. So, I don't have that much free time coming up next week. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and most of Thursday, maybe I could watch the movie if it's available. There's so many things I want to do whenever I have unscheduled time. Like, I still want to clean up here in my studio. I don't know what to do. So, what was it, over a month ago I did a little bit of work. I was able to get a little bit of work done in here. And it's almost gotten back to where it was before I did that work. But at least it's not like I went completely all the way back to square one. It's just that I moved some stuff from elsewhere, so the other place is a little more clean or tidy, but where I tidied last time is not anymore. Oh, man. Yeah, that's the worst. Or, like, you're in the theater and someone there has already seen it, and so they're talking about it as if everybody else will have already seen it, too. I've had that happen, too. Yeah, exactly. Like, don't tell me anything about it. I just want to watch it. And then I will make my decisions. Or, like, it's got comments from people about why you should watch it or something. Like, people's reviews. I don't even like watching trailers. And that's, like, the official promotion stuff. Like, if I have no idea about the movie at all, then I'll watch a trailer. But if I'm already interested, I don't want to watch anything. I want to learn about it through the movie, and I don't want to hear even my friends' opinions or anything other than, like, if they know me really well and they say, oh, you're not going to like this one, you know, I don't recommend it for you, then that probably means, you know, it's something in there that will be disturbing to me or something that's a little bit different. But yeah, I don't like having my opinions formed for me before I even get to experience the main thingy. XE2. Yay, I'm not alone. I just like the experience of a new thing is precious in and of itself, I think. So it feels frustrating sometimes when it feels like no one will give anything a shot unless other people have already said that they like it. Or something. Like, everybody's waiting for everybody else's opinion first. And then maybe they'll give it a chance. planning on putting a bunch of details into these sunflowers that are really far in the back, but I felt like that was the best way to add some variety and texture to them without just being really generic with like a sponge or something like that. So I just went ahead and did it. Let's do this one too. So the disc part of these sunflowers on these, actually on all of them, even the close-up ones, are still way too light overall. They need to be a lot darker overall. I know I want to just add a little water on top. Make the whole thing darker. The sun is coming from behind, so that's another reason why it should be darker. Not just because the color is relatively dark, but because of the shading too. But now I've taken too much paint off, so I'm actually going to get a little bit more dark paint. Not just the color that I revived a few minutes ago, but my darker brown, and apply that to the middle. Well, I'll just let those sit for a minute. Still not completely satisfied with them, but I'll just let them dry and see what happens. And other than right here, the water's not coming all the way to the edge, so I'll fix that. Bring the water all the way to the edge. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to turn this and start working from this point. And I think I do need a darker overall color. Do I want to use anything off the palette that's already there, or do I want to mix something new? So this is about the same color as this. Not quite, because this color is what I used for the shadows on the griffins from the head and the top part of the torso. So it's a little bit more red. I might want to reserve it to take it further, so using a different color is probably the best idea. Maybe we will just wake up this, oh, you can't see it because I'm let me move the painting. So there's still some wet parts, so I don't want to set this all the way on those wet parts. But I'm going to put this here. I'm going to wake up this brown here at the bottom. And just see what that looks like as a shadow color. Oh, awesome! Yay! Are you going to share it so I can see? Now you're working on climate. So you've got temperature. So generic, or generic, that's not the right word. General temperature ranges. And then now, so climate is more like weather patterns and stuff like that. Are you doing climates first and then you're going to add, what's the term, like plants? Like what kind of plants based on the climate? I'm so excited. That's so cool. You're literally building this world. And it's so complete. And then you can just tell whatever stories you want if you want to tell stories within it. is rich enough. I think it's been woken up enough. So I'm just going to swipe my brush, trying to get all the paint that I can to come out. Also, tapping it helps. And you can see the little dribbles of paint coming off when you tap the very tip of it on the side of this. Well, yes. Alright, that's probably good enough, so I'm going to rinse this brush. Oh, okay. Oh, so the person that you're you said it was on YouTube, right? So the person you're following only just finished their climate zones? Interesting. I imagine, well, maybe not plants. I wonder what, I think evolutionarily, protozoans and stuff, that single-celled organisms came first. Plants are actually relatively recent, I think. I wonder if fungi came first evolutionarily, or plants, or maybe they both came together. Ah, okay. Ah, that's so exciting, though. Have you had any names rattling around in your head for what your world is called? Like maybe one overarching name? Or maybe have you thought of like names for each individual continent and stuff? Oh, right, I wanted to turn it this way so I can work on this one without any risk of getting my hand in this wet paint. Gotcha. Yeah. Ah, and add some magical things. Fun. What kind of magical things are you going to add? Like magical elements, or more like... Well, I guess magic is usually elemental. But sometimes when we think magical creatures, but they're really just mythical creatures, you know? They don't necessarily have magical powers. I don't know if my question makes sense, though. I hope it makes sense, but I don't know if it does. I gotta be really careful in between the fingers here. They're so small that one little misstroke will make them disappear. So, gotta be really careful painting around there. Dragon-like. Oh, okay. Mythical makes more sense. Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering if you meant that you'd be adding elemental magic type stuff or some sort of supernatural thing, or if it's more like just creatures we don't have. So it sounds like a little bit more the latter. That's how my fantasy world is too. There's not magic per se like Harry Potter. But there might be some things going on that the main characters have no idea how it happens or anything, because it's just beyond them, and so maybe to them it seems like magic. Kind of like how I imagine to dogs and cats that when we turn on the TV, or I don't know, turn on the water and then there's suddenly magically water. You know, they don't know where the water is coming from, how that system works. To us, it's not magic, though I do think it is magical. Just because I know in principle how it works doesn't mean it's not magical, that we just turn on a tap and there's water. Drinkable water and seemingly endless supply. Anyway, so that's the kind of magic I think of in my world. Oh, you want that too? Yeah. I like that. I like that idea. Of course I like it. That's why I did it too, but cool. Yeah. Magic feels like it's otherworldly or not natural or something to me. Like it doesn't actually exist. But the magic of something that hasn't been understood yet is slightly different. Oh, you shared the map. Yay. Let me finish this and then I want to look at it because I'm really excited to see what this is. So I've seen all the other ones that you shared. So your world is growing in my head too. Your world exists in my head now. Thanks to sharing it. And it exists on the Discord for anybody who wants to look at it. So I'm just bringing this darker color, not all the way to the edge, but out into these spiral shapes. It's not all the way to the outer edge, but reaching outwards. And this helps too because I made the initial lines for these spirals in a different direction than I decided I wanted to for the rest of them. So this helps it not look so different from the other sunflowers in that respect. Now I'm doing the opposite spiral. This is a double spiral, so one spiral's in one direction, one spiral's in the other direction. Yes, I am just streaming an hour today and an hour tomorrow because I just have so much to do with after my husband had emergency surgery to get his appendix removed. So there's just too much for me to take care of. Just being the one person, the one able-bodied person in the house. Oh, just Freebird, hello! So great to see you. Yay! I'm so glad you could make it. Lurking while working. I love it. Thank you, thank you. If you are streaming by the time I'm done in half an hour, now I'll come see you. We'll come raid you. Lurking while working. That's an awesome hashtag. Lurking while working. Oh, thank you. I'll let him know. The recovery process has been going as smoothly as anybody could hope, so that's excellent. But any kind of surgery is not... even if it's a routine surgery or it's common, it's still a pretty big deal, so... I was not sure what to do because I wanted to stream. I knew I was taking next week off. So he actually suggested to do the hour. And I was like, oh, I think that will work. Because I also don't want to get behind on this. I really want to finish this before summer is over. So there's multiple reasons. Oh, no stream for Just Freebird. Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, I hope work goes well for you today. I don't know if you want to share, but I'm interested what kind of work you do, but you don't have to share. You don't have to share anything you don't want to. Oh, and thank you for the well wishes. Yes, I hope so too. We split all the responsibilities throughout the house pretty evenly, so when one of us is down with a cold or whatever it is, the other one has like double the work to do. So, okay, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. So I'm just going to do the same thing on all these other close-up sunflowers. it's going good. Awesome. Aw, that's so cool. You work for a museum. What kind of museum? Like natural history or cultural museum or something? As always, if I'm asking too much, just ignore my question. Art museum. Cool. Oh, that's perfect. Art streamer working in an art museum. That's so cool. Is it modern art or more classical art? Or something else? Oh, I'm so glad. It's wonderful when your day job or your main income job is something you love to do. And also, since it's related to art, that's just so relevant to what you stream, or what I've seen you stream anyway. Creative stuff. More classical. I haven't seen too much classical style art in the museums I've been to. So many of them are. I haven't gone to like the real big ones, you know, but like the Louvre or MoMA or whatever. But I guess MoMA is modern art though, so they wouldn't have. Anyway, I think you know what I mean. I often see more modern art. Even when I went to Japan last year, and several of the excursions we went, because we did a cruise around the country, and several excursions went to art museums, but they're always modern art museums. Not that I have anything against modern art. I just think it's interesting that what I learn about in art history, well, it's an art history, so it makes sense. Art history feels like art museum, well, because museums came from history. Here's the story of how museums came to be that I learned from my art history class. Originally, museums were places where rich people collected all kinds of artifacts from around the world. And the point was to show that they were learned, knowledgeable, not just by possessing the items, but also by knowing things about them. And they didn't even have to be real facts. They just had to be things that other rich and powerful people knew about them. For instance, the birds of paradise were taken from Southeast Asia, and not everybody, some people were smart enough, but the things that they would talk about the bird of paradise was, oh, they don't have any feet and they don't have any wings and they just float around and float up toward paradise, and that's why it's called the bird of paradise. Actually, the reason they didn't have any feet and wings is because they were usually damaged in transit, you know, sailing across the 7 seas or whatever to get back to Europe, and so they were killed en masse and then having their arms and legs chopped off, which is horrible. But that led to this sort of legend about the bird of paradise, and that's the kind of things that people would talk about when they visited each other's museums, schmoozing with one another. And that's where they started. They were these private collections. The same thing with zoos. Zoos were the same thing, but with live animals. And so, yeah, that's where museums come from. And so I think the reason why I'm telling this story is because I think that's why it sort of surprises me that I haven't really seen any of this art. That when people think art, they think of Mona Lisa or the David statue or whatever, and I have not seen those things. Even facsimiles of them or anything. Are these emotes for the sad birds of paradise? Oh, it's one of the most. No, there's so many horrible things, but I'm like, really? They're just killing these birds by the thousands just because people wanted them for their museums so they could tell this story about the bird of paradise flying up to heaven or whatever. Yes, it was okay. Oh, I loved my art history classes. Not the first ones. The survey of art history classes, oh, they are rough. They are so stale, so boring. What I remember the most, survey of art history 101, 102, sleeping. I remember sleeping in the lecture hall and how dark it was and the professor professing, but I'm like exhausted because I also worked an overnight full-time job while going to school at that time. And so I'm like, I don't know how I passed these classes. The only things I remember learning about them are just like weird random tidbits like flying buttress as a architectural term and stuff like that, but I don't remember anything really valuable. But once I got up into the 300 level classes, oh, and I was dreading them so much too. I was like, oh no, here we go. And I have to take these. I think it was 12 credits of upper division art history, and I was so dreading it. And then I got the best professor ever, and I was like, art history is the best. It's my favorite subject other than illustration. Oh, you loved your art history classes too. Were yours also based on movement, supposed movement? The art history professor I got, who I really loved, he actually did not want them to be arranged by movement because that's not actually how art works. You know, it's not like everyone decides all of a sudden to, you know what, we're ready to start making a different kind of art. So now we're going to start making Baroque art now. And that's not how it works at all. And like the separation between the so-called Italian Renaissance and the Northern Renaissance is not helpful at all because there was cultural exchange through that entire area. You know, all of Europe and even the British Isles and stuff. It's actually not very helpful to learning to compartmentalize it that way. But because that's what people expect, they don't let you not classify it that way. Or at least at my university, they wouldn't let you not classify it by that. So, like, it seems that classifying it maybe by century would be more useful, because then you could look at the whole globe and see what everyone was doing in China or South America or wherever at the same time. Anyway, I have so much to say about art history. Oh, yours were also by movements. Yep. But my professor was so brilliant, he still managed to... He got that point across to us, or at least to me, and was able to... He wasn't held back. It didn't feel like he was held back by having to focus on Northern Renaissance or whatever. That's the first class I took from him, was Northern Renaissance. Because you can't teach Northern Renaissance without talking about Italy or Spain or whatever. So, and he was from Poland, like he was born there or whatever. And so we actually talked a lot about the interchange between the Holy Roman Empire and the Ottoman Empire. And even though we were talking about Renaissance, and I don't think that is normally what people think of when they think the word Renaissance, but this was what was going on during that same time period, so I found it quite relevant. And he was also able to make everything he taught relevant to today, which was mind-blowing, so yes. Oh, break is over. Okay, I hope you have a great day at work. We still got about 18 minutes together. Thank you for lurking. Exhibits is spinning happy on there. I can't wait to work on some more of those ranger icons. But for tomorrow, Chibi Friday tomorrow, I want to finish, well, since I'm only streaming an hour, probably not finish, but make more progress on those food icons I started, because those will fill up all the slots that I currently have open. I started 5 of them. Wow, I didn't know that I would sort of go on a rant about art history. It just goes to show how effective that professor's classes were. When I went to Japan, I even got a little modern piece of art history. How can I say that? I'll show it to you in a second when I finish with this, because it's something that he taught us during the classes, and then I went on one of the shore excursions we went on. We went to this, I'm not sure if the word should be famous or should be top class. I guess all of those things. Man, I'm really struggling with this sunflower right here. It's not working as well as I would hope right here, but it's just gonna have to be how it is. Anyway, my mind was blown when I was like, oh man, that's from my art history class. And then I was able, with my lower intermediate, I don't know, I guess I'm intermediate because I passed the N3, Japanese. So I am at the intermediate level. With my intermediate level Japanese, I was able to explain that I learned about this from my art history professor, and that's why I'm so excited. And so the person who's like the 3rd generation, what do you call it? Owner, inheritor, the person running the ceramics shop, gave me all of this materials to take home for free, learning materials. I don't have those out, so I can't show you those. But this is the item. It's a cake plate, and this was made recently by the company. I can't remember. I wrote about it in my blog, though, so maybe you can find it in the blog. But you see this VOC stands for, I can't say the Dutch, but it stands for the Dutch East India Trading Company. And so these were made back in the, 1600s or something, by companies in Japan, because China would not sell their porcelain, so Japan made some, and this is one of them. And look at what I was talking about, bird of paradise. This is a bird of paradise on the design. This one actually has wings though, no legs. So I think this is another one too. So yeah, this is like my treasure that I got from Japan. I was like, oh my god, VOC! They have the VOC plate here! I was losing my mind. I was so happy. This is one of the most expensive things I bought there, but it was totally worth it. And I have it on display at all times here in my studio. It sits right behind my PC workstation, so that I always see it when I sit there. So yeah, that goes to show how much I came to love. Like, you just never know. I thought I hated art history. Then I had that great class and I was so excited. I didn't know that would come together when I went to Japan. Although it makes sense, because there's a lovely anime that takes place in Renaissance Europe. It's called Arta. Like, it's spelled art with an E on the end. So if anybody wants to watch it, I think it's streaming on Crunchyroll. I think that's where we watched it. And of course, some of it is, it's storytelling, it's fiction. So some of it is not necessarily realistic, but a surprising amount of it is. For instance, there won't be any spoilers. This is like at the very beginning. This is the whole premise of the show, is that this noble family's daughter wants to be an artist and wants to go work at an artist's guild. And of course her parents don't want her to, and it's even illegal. And so she is instantly confronted with barriers because of that. But historically there were, so basically if a girl or a woman wanted to become an artist, she had to have the support of either her husband or her father. So some lucky people were able to be artists, maybe not professionally because they weren't even legally allowed to, which is just such, but I won't, so, okay. This is supposed to be a family-friendly stream, but it really, ooh, that riles me up. But some people were able to do it. And so this is sort of a fictional version of a girl finding a way to become an artist in Renaissance Europe. And I think it's a lovely show. And there were lots of instances of like, oh, I learned about that in our history. I learned about that in our history. So it was really fun. It came out when I was taking those art history classes. So it was especially poignant to me at the time. I still have extra art history books I purchased, or one of them I won in class because the professor was trying to get people more involved. So he said, we're going to be doing review questions for the tests, and whoever gets the most right will win this book. And I'm like, I love books, and I love this class. And also, I'm basically a living Hermione Granger. So I did my best, and I won the book. So I still have that book to read. I think it's called, I'm looking at it. I think the one that I won is called The Mirror of the Artist. Oh, yay! I'm glad you're loving the colors. Thank you, Exie. I'm almost done with this next layer with the sunflowers. I think I want to go around and do dots on them now too, though, because there is this spiral pattern, but it's made by the little flowers. So I'm doing dots here on this sunflower that's closest, but I think it would be good if I did some dots on all the other ones too. Maybe not these farthest away ones, but we'll see. We'll see. Whatever looks good is what I'll do. Blah. I'm tripping over my own tongue. With each pass of paint, it's getting more and more depth, and I'm quite happy. I especially notice it when I look at my OBS screen over here, because it's very small. The screen is like, it's like minimized down to this. I had to chug a bunch of water just now. I only just got back from my run in this crazy, crazy heat. Like an hour before streaming time started, so I'm still pretty thirsty. Maybe what I'm going to do is actually do dots along these lines that I already drew here for this sunflower that's very close to the viewer, to help show that this is those little flowers that are in the disc flowers that are making these shapes happen. These spirals happen. Oh, my computer's getting warm too. Fans just revved up. Oh, they calmed back down. If nothing else, I am learning so much about how to paint sunflowers from this. Because I am not the kind of person who practices first and then does something. At least not for a painting. When I'm giving my speeches and stuff, of course I practice like crazy, but for stuff like painting, cooking, anything where I'm creating a thing, I don't bother with a bunch of practice. I learn on the job, or whatever you would say. So sometimes when I'm cooking, that means that everybody I'm cooking for has to suffer along with me when the recipe didn't turn out. I'm like, sorry, this is what we're eating. Usually recipes turn out. I'm a fairly decent cook when I've got a recipe, and I'm pretty good with, you give me a few ingredients and I can whip something basic up, but yeah. So, like, with this sunflower, I'm really struggling with it, but it's just going to be like that, so. Okay, let's start adding some dots to the rest. I'm going to switch. I've been using my size 1 round brush, but I'm going to switch to the size 0 because the size 1 was already making this big of dots for. Oh, let me hold this up closer so you can see the effect. It's sideways, but at least you can see. So I definitely don't want all the dots to be that big for these other sunflowers, which are supposed to be farther in the background. So I'm using my smallest brush, size 0, though I have one, and I use it usually when I'm doing the white ink on a chibi. It's supposedly a size 000, but it's pretty much the same size as this 0 brush, so I've never really noticed any difference between the two. And that's, I think, just because of brand. I don't think there's some legally binding measurement system for brush sizes. They just generally sort of coincide, but not always. Yeah, I think adding these dots is a really good idea. It's adding more variety, more visual variety. Well, I could move this small camera so you could actually see what I'm doing better. There. If I ever have to paint sunflowers again, I'm gonna be really good at it. Or at least I'll be better than I am now. So I'm learning so much. So much. The only thing that sucks about using a tiny brush is that it doesn't hold very much paint, so you just gotta keep dipping it into the paint. Oh, it really does. I'm so happy I thought to do that. I hadn't planned on it from the beginning, but my brain was just trying to think of what else I could do to get the paint to create the sunflower texture that I'm seeing. So it's just such a unique, interesting. It's an interplay of the shape of the things that make up that disc and their arrangement. I think I kind of missed some here. Are they just not showing up as well right here? A little bit more. Always moving the painting around so that I don't set my hand in any wet paint. So that's why I am now painting upside down. Sometimes it's hard to paint upside down because my brain needs to see it in a certain direction in order to think about the lighting. But this is not really about lighting, it's about texture, so painting upside down is a-okay. Man, it's really working really well on this one. This dot texture. I like it. Yay! I'm trying not to take it all the way to the edge because I still want to give a feeling of it getting lighter as it goes out toward the edge. So that's why I'm keeping these dots near the middle part and right next to that inner disc. I need to add a little bit more water to the paint. It's not getting dry, but it's getting a really thick. So that there's more pigment than I necessarily want. Oh, it's time to end. Well, I shall finish this one. Oh, and you're welcome, Exie. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad. I was so confused about what I should do. I'm glad that this worked out. And we can hang out tomorrow if you're able. Yay! Okay. Well, not bad for an hour's stream. And it's definitely better than nothing. I'm gonna hold this up close so that we can look at, so we just basically worked on these sunflower discs the whole time. So this blue always sends my camera crazy. Camera does not know what to do with them. I'll show these background ones first. And then this one really up close, I think it's my favorite because I have so much more room to add detail and it's turning out really nice, I think. Oh, thank you, Exie. You're always so generous with your kind words. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, let's see. Who should we raid? Who's streaming? It's going to be a much earlier raid than usual. Oh, just one person. Let's go see Rock, Paper, Water. It says, big brush, tiny painting. I'm going to switch keyboard for painting here. Whee! Such a relief. I'm so glad I could at least get a little bit of work done on this week. So I'm so happy. I couldn't get this done last year. I was just so what is the word? Not flustered, but I couldn't make a decision about what to do. I couldn't find the solution that I wanted, and now I just have to finish the mechanics of it, basically, which is a painting. It's not as much cognitive work, although it is still a lot of cognitive work. Okay, I'm opening a new instance of Twitch. Okay, /raid. And it's spelled rock like the mythical creature, paper, water. Which I imagine is on purpose, because he does a lot of birds. Okay, rock, paper, water. That's spelled correctly? Yes. Boom. Yay, rain has been created. Okay, so it's going to be the same deal tomorrow. I'll be starting at the usual time, but just streaming for an hour because of things I have to deal with. So, hopefully I'll see you then. Hopefully see you then, Exie. And that will be it for today because the raid is ready. So, let's go. Hooray! The raid worked. So, if you are still on my channel now or watching the recording later, that's it for me. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to be doing Chibi Friday. Hope to see you then. Thank you for watching.